Biography and History of Russia. Welcome to the Info Arena. In today's captivating journey, we dive into the biography and history of one of the most intriguing nations on earth, Russia. From the icy plains of Siberia to the gilded domes of Moscow, Russia has been home to pivotal moments in history, moments that shaped the world. So buckle up and prepare to explore. Russia, the largest country on earth. Spanning over 6.6 million square miles, it covers more territory than Pluto. From the snowy tundras of Siberia to the bustling urban centers of Moscow and St. Petersburg, this vast land connects Europe and Asia in extraordinary ways. Its position as a bridge between these two continents shaped its history as well as its identity, the perfect meeting point of the East and the West. The story of Russia's origins begins in the 9th century with the formation of Kievan Rus. This early state was founded by Viking traders, also known as the Varangians, who established a network of settlements among the Slavic tribes. Kievan Rus became a prosperous trading hub, connecting the Byzantine Empire and the northern Europeans. And in 988 AD, something transformative happened. Prince Vladimir of Kiev converted to Christianity, introducing Orthodox Christianity as a foundational element of Russian culture. But Kievan Rus wasn't destined to last forever. In the 13th century, the Mongols swept through, subjugating the Rus territories under the Golden Horde. For over 200 years, Russia paid tribute to the Mongols. But this era also sowed the seeds for Moscow's rise. Moscow, a small and seemingly insignificant principality, grew in power, strategically navigating Mongol rule. Ivan the Great, or Ivan III, emerged as an ambitious leader. Under his reign in the late 15th century, Moscow abolished its Mongol overlords and transformed into the center of Russian politics and culture. Ivan the Terrible, the first Tsar of Russia, ascended to the throne in 1547. Known for his ruthless campaigns and military expansion, Ivan left a complex legacy. He fostered huge growth, doubling Russia's territory, but at the cost of widespread fear and suffering. His creation of the Oprichnina, a personal police force loyal only to him, symbolized his iron grip on power. Ivan's reign ended in chaos, plunging Russia into a period known as the Time of Troubles. After Ivan's death, Russia suffered political instability, economic downturns, and foreign invasions. The Time of Troubles was a dark chapter, marked by famine, impostor czars, and civil conflict. In 1613, a new dawn arrived with the election of Michael Romanov as Tsar. The Romanov dynasty would rule Russia for over 300 years, shaping its trajectory through both glory and hardship. No discussion of Russian history would be complete without mentioning Peter the Great. Rising to power in 1682, Peter was a reformer like no other. Determined to modernize Russia, he introduced sweeping reforms, building a navy, modernizing the army, and introducing Western customs. Perhaps his most visible legacy is St. Petersburg, the majestic city he built as Russia's window to the West. Its grand boulevards and canals remain a testament to Peter's vision of bringing Russia into the European fold. Catherine the Great, another towering figure of Russian history, succeeded in expanding Russia's borders and influence dramatically. A German princess who became empress after a palace coup, Catherine ruled with intellect and ambition. She supported the arts, education, and Enlightenment ideas, furthering Russia's cultural and political reach. Under her reign, Russia became a dominant power in Europe, but her rule wasn't without controversy, including revolts like Pugachev's rebellion, a reminder of the tensions brewing below the surface. In 1812, Russia faced one of its biggest threats yet, an invasion by Napoleon Bonaparte's Grand Army. What seemed like an unstoppable force was no match for Russia's vastness, resilience, and brutal winters. Napoleon's defeat after the catastrophic retreat from Moscow solidified Russia's position as a major power in Europe. The victory also galvanized Russian patriotism, inspiring art, literature, and even music, such as Tchaikovsky's iconic 1812 overture. The 19th century brought about a mix of progress and unrest. Overseeing key military and cultural advancements, leaders like Alexander II implemented reforms, including the emancipation of serfs in 1861. But these changes were not enough to address inequality, and dissatisfaction grew among the peasantry, intellectuals, and revolutionary groups. Russia was hurtling toward a breaking point. The first spark came in 1905, following a humiliating defeat in the Russo-Japanese War. Widespread protests, strikes, and uprisings rocked the empire. Though Tsar Nicholas II introduced reforms, including a parliamentary body called the Duma, these changes only scratched the surface of Russia's deeper social and economic issues. By the early 20th century, Russia was teetering on the edge. World War I became the final straw. With millions of soldiers lost and food shortages crippling the nation, resentment toward the monarchy boiled over. In 1917, Tsar Nicholas II abdicated, ending the Romanov dynasty's three-century rule. Amidst this chaos, Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks seized the moment. In October 1917, they overthrew the provisional government in a swift and decisive revolution. The Bolsheviks introduced a radical new vision for Russia: communism. The Russian Empire was no more, replaced by the Soviet Union or the USSR. The new government wasn't universally welcome. A brutal civil war erupted between the Bolshevik Red Army and the anti-communist White Army. The Bolsheviks emerged victorious, solidifying their control. By 1922, the USSR was officially born, a revolutionary state built on Marxist principles. The 1920s gave way to one of the USSR's most polarizing figures, Joseph Stalin. Through his ruthless leadership, Stalin transformed the Soviet Union into an industrial superpower. However, this progress came at a staggering cost. Millions perished in famines, purges, and labor camps during his infamous Great Terror. If there's one chapter in Soviet history etched forever in memory, it's the role of the USSR during World War II. After Germany's surprise invasion in 1941, the USSR suffered immense losses but stood resolute. The victory at Stalingrad turned the tide of the war, and by 1945, Soviet troops hoisted their flag above Berlin. The USSR emerged as a global superpower, but at the price of immense suffering, over 20 million lives lost. Post-war USSR quickly became locked in a tense standoff with the United States, the Cold War. This era defined much of the 20th century, with both nations vying for global dominance. From nuclear arms races to the space race, where the USSR made history by launching the first man into space, Yuri Gagarin, this rivalry shaped the modern world. By the 1980s, cracks in the Soviet system were impossible to ignore. Economic stagnation, political corruption, and public discontent weakened the regime. Mikhail Gorbachev introduced reforms like glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring, but these efforts only hastened the USSR's collapse. In 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved entirely, bringing an abrupt end to its superpower status. The 1990s saw Russia grappling with its new identity under Boris Yeltsin, a time marked by economic turmoil and growing pains. Enter Vladimir Putin in the early 2000s, a leader who sought to restore Russia's stability and international prominence. Today, Russia remains a major player on the global stage, though not without controversy as its political systems face scrutiny. While politics often takes center stage, Russia's cultural legacy is just as remarkable. Russian writers like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky have left a lasting mark on literature. while composers like Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff enriched the world of classical music. Russia's achievements in science, space exploration, and visual art further highlight its intellectual and creative reach. Throughout its history, Russia has been a land of extremes: triumph and hardship, reform and resistance, innovation and survival. Its resilience in the face of endless challenges makes its history not only fascinating but also deeply inspiring. Conclusion and call to action. And that brings us to the end of this remarkable journey through the biography and history of Russia. From humble beginnings in Kievan Rus to its evolution as an empire, a superpower, and a modern state, Russia's past is a tapestry of incredible stories. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Info Arena. We've got plenty more exciting documentaries and stories coming your way. Stay tuned, stay curious, and see you in the next video.